Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Blunt Atheist, and we're back again for part two with Sid Jones. Here, as always, Sid Jones.
What's up, guys? As you can hear, there's a lot of wind behind me. I should have been a meteorologist. I really should have been a meteorologist. It's windy and wet and cold. No, it's actually like summer weather out here, man, for sure.
Yeah, I gotta love that Midwest weather.
Dude, I fucking hate the Midwest and the fucking 90% of the people in it, man. Like it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, yeah. There's some winners, but I mean, there's probably some winners wherever you go.
Yeah, and all you gotta do is go on to Child's Play Ninja's fucking channel.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this, man. Like I said, man. Props, man. I'm the type, like, I mean, I'm not quite, I'm not quite the same as him, like, I mean, I guess I could get the same way if, like, you really hit a subject that I really feel passionate about. And but I don't, even still, I guess maybe I'd have been that way a couple years ago when I wasn't as mature. But I guess that's one thing I don't get is like how people can claim to be like adults and act like that.
Or non-judgmental and perfectly accepting, except when it comes to somebody wearing a fucking studded vest or has his hair like fucking Gary Oldman, which, by the way, I still say for the record is a great fucking actor, and I never made the comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this. I mean, like we figured out last time, and I mean it's up for people's interpretation whether or not they want to see me as that. Me, like I said, I'm not a 17 percenter and I'm not a Twizzler. I can think for myself, you know, and so it's like, okay, I see it like this, just to, I guess just to get like my point of view out. Okay, I agreed with you on some things, and then there was some things I agreed with him on.
Which
Like,
is what I want. Like that, I don't understand how that was fascist, and I took that on a whole fucking personal thing, man. Like you don't get to fucking sit there and call me something that I've been fighting since I was 12 years old, and calling me a fucking lie on shit that people have witnessed. Like, dude, my girl, she's had to pull me away from people. She's like, why'd you just walk up to that person and start talking to them? They're just trying to get their groceries. They just want to get their fucking paycheck cash. Like, why are you standing there talking for a half hour, 45 minutes to these people? Like, that's what I do all the time.
because I'll tell you what I think he's trying to do. I mean, I've watched. I mean, I've watched him now for like 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. And he's basically an admitted like asshole. Like his whole game is like once people start to make like start to like kind of prove a point, he don't like that. No offense, he's kind of like Chuck in that sense too, even though they pretend to hate each other. Like they're both that way in the sense like you get their jimmies rustled a little and then they go into asshole like I'm gonna debase what you're saying mode, because unfortunately like I got love for both of them, but they're kind of both that way. You kind of bring forward a good point, and their jimmies get rustled, and then all of a sudden they want to start making personal attacks like like little kids.
Well, that's the thing.
You know,
Like when you, here's what I was taught as a kid when you debate. What I was taught when you're debating is the first person that starts throwing the insults loses immediately.
yep.
There's no rules for debates anymore. Look at the Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump debate. They broke every rule in the book, talking over it. Like it was hysterical. I remember we were watching it, man, like it was the fucking Sunday night Super Bowl. And we're laughing, we're playing drinking games. And next thing I know, after the last debate, reality hit me. And I went, one of these two people is going to be president of the United States. Fuck me dead. Like, it's fucking terrifying, man. Like, they have completely transformed everything. Like, they've changed the realm. Like, look at 2017, man. Here's a story for you that you should tag in this video. Andy Signor of Screen Junkies suspended for sexual assault.
Okay.
Does that not sound like 2017 to you, brother? Like,
honestly, I didn't hear about that. Like, I'll be admitted. Like, I am, when it comes to like certain types of music, I like myself. I listen to all types of music, and I guess to claim ignorance, like right now, a lot of the only music I really kind of listen to is a lot of underground stuff, and then like some metal. So
okay,
like
well,
you could bring up something and like that, and I'll have no clue. So excuse my ignorance.
you're fine, man. So Screen Junkies is basically this movie discussion thing, believe it or not. They do like a, have you ever heard of popcorn something or other?
I think I have.
Okay, so they're basically a thing like that. The popcorn crew or whatever. They do like they talk like for like they basically give a plot summary in like under 3 minutes or whatever of a movie that they consider a guilty pleasure, and they list off what movies are a guilty pleasure, and they talk about that movie for like 2 hours long. Screen Junkies is like that. They have movie fights and shit like that. Andy Signore was a huge part of that. As a matter of fact, he was one of the founders of it until they were bought out by a corporation. I forget what corporation, but they were getting like sponsorships and things like that from Audi or something like that. And I was actually, there's a video of me actually trying to get on the whole Screen Junkies movie fights thing for a fan fight. And this guy, whom I've been watching, God, now for the past 2 years, except recently I haven't been watching much of the fights, and then I find out he gets nabbed with fucking sexual assault accusations. Like, I'm not surprised anymore. You know, there's a lot of people. They think that rape and sexual assault now is through the eyes now. Like, he raped me with his eyes, and they will arrest you for rape until the story comes out. They're like, okay, what they do is they call it an open warrant. And they say, we're going to put an open warrant on this guy. They do their investigation. 9 times out of 10, they drop the charges. However, that stigma still sticks with the accuser. The accused, I'm sorry. But I mean, so for when I hear about, like, you know, this celebrity was accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault, I'm like, Donald Trump was grabbing people by the pussy. So I guess it's to be perfectly accepted in 2017. Like, times have changed. As much as it's the left's problem, the problem is that they have also changed the terms and ideologies that were set before them years prior. You see what I'm saying?
It's called moving. It's called moving the post to fit your narrative.
Right, or the camel with the tent, like it'll stick its head in the tent. Next thing you know, it tries to shove its whole body in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people use that reference for gun control, or like the legalization of marijuana that the Republicans fucking hated. Except in New Hampshire, it was a fucking Republican governor that decriminalized it, and the reason why he did that is because he knew the Republicans were in fucking trouble, and that's the truth of it, man. They're starting to figure out that if we stick to our guns on certain things, we're fucked. We're not going to get the young voters anymore. And we're starting to see how society changes. We're starting to see actors. The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to run for president. Kane is running for senator in his state. Oh my fucking God.
I believe it's governor.
Governor. Well, but point is, though, man, it's idiocracy. You see what I'm saying? Like that.
Oh,
like that.
Actually, the dude I regularly do my podcast with. We put up an episode yesterday. We as funny as you mentioned that, we both laughed while on stream, going, "Oh yeah, we're living that movie right now." Oh, believe me, dude, I get what you're saying.
Right, and that's the thing, though. The countercultures and things like that, the subcultures, like Child's Play Ninja said last night, and I quote, "It is okay for a juggalo to sexually harass a woman because they're juggalos." His words, not mine.
And yeah, I know. That's bullshit, you know. And like I said, I think, you know, he gets into that phase where, you know, he gets all pissed off. And then it's just like he's not even looking at like the roots of his arguments anymore. He's just gonna just say whatever he wants and just make baseless attacks.
Right. And the other thing that's gonna wind up happening too is that now there's gonna be this whole it used to be called white privilege. You know, it used to be about race. Now it's about what we talked about last time, self-identity. I am this person, therefore I am high and mighty because I have an Instagram, a Twitter, and a Facebook with 6 million followers. And Joe Rogan talked about that. You know, Joe Rogan, he'd said, you know, there's this girl. She's gorgeous, and all she does, she's got like millions of followers, and all she does is post pictures of her ass. Like, her ass is famous. That's the world we live in, bro. And the thing is, it's a double-edged sword, because if you were to say, like, you know, she's gorgeous or whatever, she's like, oh, guys are such pigs and they're just thirsty and all these other fucking millennial terms, it's horse shit. So you have to fucking pick one. Either you're going to do that shit and accept the consequences for it, which I get, or you're going to have to fucking figure out what you're doing. On the other end of that stick, you've got the people that are like, maybe I shouldn't be a prick and a dick. And is there really any reason for me to post a comment or say anything about this woman's picture? You know, because there's 599 other comments. I want to be number 600, and I'm not going to add anything to any conversation except I'm going to repeat what the other 599 people had already posted. It's bullshit and fucking ignorant, but you see it from the Juggalo community. I mean, I swear to God, man, I'm sitting there with my buddy, and I don't even know what came to me and why I brought it up. But I looked at him and I said, hey, man, did you hear about the Juggalo March? He goes, I don't even know what that is. I know nothing about it. I'm like, here, let me show you a clip. So I showed him a clip, and I'm like, he goes, dude, that looks like a fucking gang rally of some shit. And I'm like, oh, that's how you see it? Perfectly fine. Like, I just wanted your opinion on it. But and then oh my God, the show me your butthole thing. I made that fucking, that should be trending on Twitter, as I said last night. I made that fucking more popular than Crazy McCormick because I drew attention to it. My fucking fault for that. But I should have known the kind of people that I was dealing with. I've got people that are trying to hit up my girl, and they're fucking for her Snapchat and shit and fucking sexually harassing her. And I'm like, but you realize sexual harassment's a crime, right? But you say that you're not criminals. If you're going 90 and a 60, that you're a criminal. You're breaking the law. A criminal is somebody who breaks the fucking law. So you can't say juggalos are not criminals. They are fucking criminals.
No, I agree. I agree with that. That's true. There are individuals who claim juggalo that do commit crimes, and that honestly, that's the one point that I will give to Chuck Reeves 100%. Like, honestly, people should police their own more, and I say this more than the juggalo community. I say whatever community you're in, it's a good thing that you might as well police your people, because otherwise, if you want to sit and cry about the dumb shit, even if it's a few people, the dumb shit a few people do, you know, yes, that can ripple and then create a bigger effect, and then you're sitting there bitching and moaning, even though you didn't, like, you might have known this little dumbass who went out and fucking, you know, robbed a fucking, you know, Quickie Mart or fucking something like that, and you didn't, you know, and you didn't say that's something that you didn't say something to that person to the effect of, you know, maybe you should watch what you do, because you're gonna make, you know, the juggalo community look better. You're gonna make, you know, the atheist community look better, the stoner community look bad. Like, I've been preaching this myself. Like, you know, if you want your community to be better, then you're maybe going to have to go to the bad apples of the group and be like, listen, you're shitting and staining the name of, you know, your community. And I agree with that point with what you said and Chuck Reese said. That's the one thing I'll back up that Chuck said 100% is, you know, people gotta like no offense, like, okay, I might catch hell for this because everybody like thinks her shit don't stink and all this. I agree with Chuck on Roxy Red. No offense, Roxy Red got herself on probation because obviously she was a fucking drunk who liked to go to the bar and be irresponsible like most people our fucking age. Nobody wanted to sit and look at that fact. They just wanted to be like, oh, well, she was a juggalette, and they probably want to get up in her snatch or whatever, you know, like, whatever. I don't care. Like, whatever. Like,
well, here's the thing, man.
Who cares?
There's a story. I'm going to tell you this story. You're going to Google this story. You're going to fact check me, okay? Doesn't have to be right now, but I want you to fact check this. There's a woman was a woman. She's dead now. Her car was found up at Cranmore Mountain in the mountains of New Hampshire. It's a ski resort. And I actually worked there after this whole thing. And she was missing. They couldn't find her. And they found her body. Found out she had been murdered. She was found in Duck Pond, the same pond that they used to make snow. And when they found the people that did it, I think it only took them about 2 or 3 weeks for them to find the people that had done it. The guy, when he was arrested and brought in, was wearing a Hatchet Man jersey. Like, that's not one of those things that juggalos talk about, or even the anti-juggalos talk about, because it was a small town. But the other thing that I wanted to bring to people's attention is that I didn't know. My buddy Baby Boy, he calls me up. He says, "Where are you?" I says, "Oh, I'm leaving Surefire." He goes, "Did you grab a paper?" I'm like, "No, there's no papers here. Like, they're all gone." He goes, "I'll show you why." So he pulls up. He says, "I'm coming to pick your ass up." He pulls up, and I said, "So what's good, dude?" He takes the newspaper, the Conway Daily Sun. He throws it on my lap. He goes, "What's that?" And I said, "That's a Hatchet Man jersey he's wearing." He goes, "That's the guy that killed Dittmeyer. Here's the article on page, I think it was 6 or 7, whatever. It was years ago." So I'm reading the article, and they didn't even mention that he was a juggalo. They left the baby in the car with the door open and shit. But my point is, man, they didn't bring attention to the fact that he was a juggalo. They didn't even mention it. They didn't talk about his music. They didn't say that it was a motive. They said that the drugs were the motive. See, that's what bothers me. When you look at New England and all this shit, I was at the Twisted show, and the place was flooded with cops. What I found out later on, actually just recently, was that a lot of cops show up at what was called the Junkyard. It's got a new name now in Nashua, New Hampshire. But it was because there was concerts going on. And when they found out that Twisted was going to be there, they showed up in higher numbers. Why that was, I don't know. I make no claim or whatever to why they were there. All I know is there are people that have committed crimes that you wouldn't even know are juggalos. But that tells me that the gang label, if there's, like, it's a small town, we're short-funded. As a matter of fact, whenever there's a murder, whenever there's a big crime, we call in Massachusetts to bring in their feds. My boss, dude, my old boss, look up this story. Bruce Goodwin murdered at the Conway Valley Inn. And readers of my novel, Dissent is Not Treason, will be familiar with that hotel, with that resort, with that inn. I used to live there. I used to work there. And my buddy Whitey, he hits me up and he says, "Dude, Bruce was assaulted. Like, he wasn't dead yet." And then I tried calling Bruce's cell phone after I read the story that he was beaten, damn near beaten to death. And he was like 3 days in a coma, and then he died. When I called his number just to, like, see if it was, like, true, you know what I mean? Like one of those, like, disbelief things. That number called me back. I tried to answer it. It rang twice. I answered it. Nothing. And then a few hours later, I found out that he had died. So I was like, maybe the police are still looking for the killer. They thought maybe it was me. I don't know. But they have never even investigated that. But that person may or may not have been Juggalo. I don't know. I'm just saying that when people like, it was because I was a Juggalo, what about this guy who murdered somebody? You know, he got, I forget how long he got in jail, or in prison rather. But they never mentioned the fact that he was a Juggalo. When he was arrested, he chose to wear that jersey, and because it was during his arraignment, or, you know, whatever it was, him being arrested. That's just what happened. What he was wearing. They didn't draw any attention to it other than the picture. What does that tell you?
Well, I mean, it tells me that, you know, there's, you know, I mean, there could be a bias within that community, and B, that, you know, yes, there are people in the Juggalo community that do commit crimes, and that's like why I said, that's why I agree with Chuck. Like, a lot of this really does boil down to, you know, the local and state seeing people doing dumb shit. People knew this the whole time. People need to stop acting ignorant like they did it. There was people doing dumb shit, you know, and for the longest time, people wanted to just say it was just like, you know, little incidents like, you know, Psycho Sam and stuff, you know, and Sigler and shit like that, and pushing it to the wayside and being like, you know, oh well, these are just like, you know, little happenings. And it's just like, well, no, we're a fairly large community with a lot of members. I've never denied the fact that there were, you know, juggalos out committing crimes. The thing I disagreed with was, should they give us all a gang label because of that? I don't think I should receive a gang label because, you know, a few other, you know, a bunch of other people were out doing some dumb shit. Label me a gang member if, you know, I'm actually out there, you know, out there fucking like, you know, Sue Woo, brother, like fucking, or like, hey cuz, like, label me a gang member because like you actually can verify for sure that my gang has colors, has a rival, and what our rituals and all that shit are. See, my biggest problem with the whole juggalo thing always as a gang is, well, all juggalos dress in different colors, so you couldn't really for sure pin us down as one color. And then what's our official sign? We got many little signs, but none of them were actual gang signs. They were just stupid little stuff we throw up to, like, you know, signal to each other. None of it was actual, you know. And I seen you and your buddy talking about this on your guys' stream. Like, there was really nothing like hardcore to like actually fit us in with a gang other than they're like, see, here's my biggest thing, and some people really may not like me putting this out there. Here's always been my view of it. See, this is where honestly I think I blame Jay a lot. No offense to Jay, but he used to push JRB so much, and if people know their juggalo culture, JRB used to be an actual gang set as Bloods.
Well, here's what I think, right? I think by the Dittmeyer case and many others, what I think is areas where juggalos are gang members, that's where they associate you with that gang, because that's become a problem. In the mountains of New Hampshire, you really think there's a fucking gang? Like, I mentioned it in my book, The Reapers. There was these kids that walked around like they were like the Conway whatever killers, and I insulted them, made fun of them and shit. But I found out years and years later, those guys were actually fucking running drugs and guns. Like, I had no fucking clue. I'm making fun of these kids for years and years. And then when I go back to New Hampshire, my buddy Justin, he goes, yeah, man, they actually were able to like be fucking legitimate enough for me to work with them. I'm like, wow, that's fucked up. Like, that's beyond my comprehension. But what I'm saying is, if there's 700 people in one neighborhood and 50 of them have been known to go out and cause trouble, cause problems, and they're wearing Hatchet Man, and then I roll into town with a Hatchet Man, of course they're going to assume I'm with those 50 people, because there's 50 of them. That means 650 not them, which is a significant number when you think about it, where it's 50 people in an area of 700. That's just for simple math. But the way that I see it is, if you look at the Dittmeyer case, New Hampshire clearly has no issue with it. And what CPN's argument was it was for the funding. We have zero funding. When there's a major case, we can't handle it in New Hampshire, so we have Massachusetts FBI come up. We have cops from Massachusetts. We have backup from Massachusetts come up to help us out. It's not about funding or anything like that. It's about where you live. If there is a gang problem and they just happen to be wearing Hatchet Mans, of course they're going to throw you with that mix. It's the same ideology that I said the subculture has. They put you in these little boxes, and that way it's easy to deal with you. I have said that probably since I started my YouTube channel. And it bothers me that people aren't like, you know, we should probably address that. But you could say, we're a fan of the music. But here's the thing. When you have the ink and you've got the dress all and you've got the whole fucking hand signs and shit like that in Washington, D.C., to somebody who's never seen that, they're going to think they look like a fucking gang. Like, it's not what you're wearing. It's your demeanor, which I had said last night. It's how you carry yourself. If you're walking around with baggy pants shuffling, you're covered in tattoos, and the way you hold yourself and walk, people might think you're a fucking thug, right? Because that's what they know. That's what the media told them. So you can't be completely shocked when people come to this conclusion on their own. And I wish juggalos were smart enough to understand that. Instead, it's like, oh, I was arrested because I was a juggalo. Were you drunk driving? Oh, yeah, that might have had something to do with it. But why they booked me as a gang? I'm like, clearly it's an issue in their town, and they probably booked another gang member, which means they got higher up commission. Cops have to make a quota. They have to arrest and pull over a amount of people a year. So of course they're gonna be like, oh damn, fucking double whammy.
Yeah, no, I follow what you're saying, and honestly, what I would equate it to is like in the African American community, they sit and whine about how white cops shoot black people and stuff. And I'm not saying it's not a problem. Do I think there's racism in police forces? I don't want anybody to get this twisted. Yes, I do. But here's the problem: like whenever you conduct some type of conversation with some of these more ignorant African Americans, and I'm saying more ignorant, you could bring up the fact of actually per capita more white people get shot by cops, but they don't want to look at those numbers. Also, they also don't want to look at the numbers of within African Americans. More African Americans kill African Americans than anybody else.
Well, that's also
so that disparity, I feel, runs over into the Juggalo community too.
We're probably going to get blacklisted for this conversation, but it's like what I was trying to explain to Child's Play Ninja. I don't think that welfare and Section 8 is coincidence. I think that it's set up that way. I think that it is rigged that way. As a matter of fact, there's this guy, Justin, another Justin, when I worked at Planet Fitness. This dude, he was a black guy, and you didn't think of him as a thug or anything like that. He was well educated and things like that. And he said that Section 8 is all part of the plan. And he's a very smart guy. Like him and I, we've had conversations when I was talking to him about the whole Black Lives Matter thing, which imagine walking up to a black guy that you work with and you're like, hey, how about that Black Lives Matter thing, man? Like, wow, isn't that something? Like, it's just really weird to bring that up. But with me, I feel like I can have a conversation with anybody about anything that I'm close with like that. And he said, look, man, I'm going to boil it down to you right quick. No lives matter. And he said that before the song from Body Count came out, No Lives Matter. But he was talking to me about how he's like, people kill each other, man, no matter what color they are. He goes, look at you and me sitting here having this conversation, man. They'll probably fucking, if you like, they want to make it so that way you and me can't talk about this shit. They want to try and make it a race war. And when that didn't work, they tried to make it against, civilians against cops. When they tried to do this, like they're trying to divide us. I actually shared a video on my Facebook page where if we're divided and not united, we stand less of a chance at standing up against the true fascists and the true oppression. And I agreed with, I can't believe I am fucking saying this. Honestly, I can't, but I want this for the record, and I hope they see this, but it's going to take me a minute. Hold on, let me have a drink of my liquor. I agreed with, oh God, my pride. Snaps' boyfriend, Jokua. I agreed with him. I know how this sounds. Believe me, the words are coming out of my mouth, and I'm having a hard time comprehending it. But he was right. Like, he talked a lot about what a lot of people don't know about, which is ironically called common law. How the United States is a corporation and how all this shit is rigged, and that how when we got our social security numbers, we were basically slave numbers, which means when our dollar goes short or China decides they want their money back, we're going to be slaves for China. And they made it so that way that we are a corporation named after us and shit like that. Like, he was right on that. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's absolutely right. And I know this through in Occupy. When I believe I said this, I learned so much information during that time period. My brain swelled, and I went home with headaches constantly because it was so much information. And that was one of the things that was on CD and DVD that was handed out, was talking about common law and things like that. And Joko was absolutely right. Again, I can't believe I'm saying that. And he was right about that. He's right about George Soros, because if they create a race war and things like that, if they create conflict and whatnot, then it derives from this story. We see it in action movies all the time where it's like, hey, look, listen, we just got to spin this story a little bit so that way the civilians feel better. It's like what you and me talked about when we talked about how, we can't handle certain information. Otherwise, we lose our minds. We jump out of buildings. Like the whole War of the Worlds radio. We talked about this, man, but let's just try and revisit that a little bit for people that might be seeing this for the first time. People committed suicide because they caught it in the middle of the transmission, didn't realize it was a story, thought it was real, and that was fucking disastrous. Because you imagine being in that kind of, you know, and you could say that was government funded because they were like, hey, let's try and test to see where people come from. Let's try and test to see how far they can take things. You could say anything. You can speculate all day and night. The Vegas shooting, you could speculate about that all day and night. You'll never know the truth. They'll never tell us the truth, or maybe it is the truth, but we have such a hard time trusting our government because they've lied to us for so long, and we know that they're lying about what maybe we know, maybe we don't, but there's enough information out there to question it, which is what's important, which is what I've been trying to get people to do, to see a different perspective. Like, maybe things should have been done differently at the march. Maybe you guys should consider this. Maybe you guys should ponder all these things. That's what I think. But the problem is people want to live in their telescope and just hone in on everything that's been in their lives for 5-10 years, and they don't want to let it go and admit the wrongs of not even just themselves, but of other people that you know damn well have had these issues. But what caused that? Media. You know, there was this one post that I saw, and it was, 9/11 terrorists. Oh, fuck the Islam. The terrorist attacks in London. Fuck them. A guy shoots people in old white guy shoots people in Las Vegas. Mentally ill white guy. Well, lone wolf. I forgot to mention the lone wolf part. My apologies. And that to me shows me that it's the media that teaches them, that caters to that, whether they realize it or not, to a subconscious level. There's a reason why they call television programming. Like, I don't know how much more clear I can be on that point. And I know I've said this a lot, especially in a lot of my videos. And every time I try and reiterate my point, I feel like people look at my videos and they go, oh, it's Sid Jones. So they automatically hit the dislike button, or they skip through my video just to try and do this, that, and the other. Snaps and Wise Words of Papa Tone have both snipped my videos, but they didn't talk about the key core things, or they would take it out of context, which the media does. The same media they claim to hate, but they use that same formula. And fuck them both for that. That's what I can't stand by. When I said that I hated these people, maybe I should take that back. I hate ignorance. And I hate the fact that we are not an oligarchy or a democracy. We are a hypocrisy. In subcultures, in Congress, in the cities, in the concerts, we're hypocrites, and we should acknowledge that, because guess what? Admitting it is the first step. I need a drink.
No, yeah, no, I get that. I do. And yeah, that's why I made the point, because, whether it was the shooting or 9/11 or what you may have it, people want to jump to something, and I still do. I stand behind my statement. Like, you swear up and down you want the real answer, or you want the government to give you the real answer. They're not going to give you the real answer, because like I said, most people couldn't handle the real answer, and that's why they're not going to give it out. I mean, I equate it to the same thing as, like, just say, if for some reason, like, science were to just come out and, like, be able to, like, with 100% prove, like, like Christianity wrong. Say they figured it out. They figured out, let's say it was really the Big Bang and evolution, and they can 100% with certainty, prove that. I mean, there's Christians out there that would fucking lose their shit and kill themselves and slit their wrists and all that shit, because there's no way they'd want to live in a world knowing that something that was shoved down their throat or taught to them or indoctrinized to them their whole life was false, and they wouldn't want to live on this world no more.
Have you seen Religulous?
Yeah, wait, Bill Maher?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Good documentary.
Dude, that's one of the best documentaries ever made. And that Pope said one of the greatest lines that I feel like should have been a quote, like, back in the MySpace days, and it was, "You're just going to have to live and die with your stupid ideas."
I mean, to me, it's an ideal like that, you know, that just goes to prove that it's just like the masses, they seek answers they couldn't handle.
Right. And that's what I was trying to tell people too, is that there's a lot of people in this world, man, that even if you gave them a fact, they'd still believe their own bullshit because that's all they've known for however long, and they can't change their way of thinking. That to me is a fucking disgrace. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with my stepmom where I'm like, if you look at the New Testament, the virgin birth is in like what, 2 or 3 of the Gospels?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that a news story that you would want covered? Like, why is it was all throughout the Old Testament, but then in the New Testament, they like watered it down a little bit when it came to that point? You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason for everything. There's a certain amount of mind control and shit like that. And there's a certain amount of hypocrisy that falls in those lines. It disgusts me that people can't be like, oh, look, listen, I might have been wrong. I've admitted when I've been wrong. I admitted that I was wrong last night. I admitted that Child's Play Ninja had fair points. How? How am I a liar? How am I a hypocrite when I've given facts, offered information, this, that, and the other, and it's not like this person walks side by side with me every fucking day to figure out what it is that I do. It's like, you're a liar and I know you're lying because all you do is focus on that post. Here's the thing. What we were taught was first impressions always last, right? First impressions always last. The first article that I clicked on was the Washington Post because it's Washington, D.C. Why would I click on anything else except the thing closest to home? And that's when I was like, what the fuck? What do these other articles say? Not much on the fucking guest speakers, except they said there's people that talked about it and they gave like a blurb and a generalization of it. I'm like, so if you guys would have actually focused on those key points, they would have had nothing else to talk about except that. But you gave them something else to talk about. And you're like, the media is going to be there and they blessed us. But then I brought up these points. You're like, well, fuck the media. They're biased. You need to fucking pick one, bro. And I'm the liar. Fucking cunts, man.
No, I understand what you're saying, and like I said, like I feel like for probably a good hour and a half since I watched it, I feel what he was trying to do is he was trying to get you to rage quit so that you'd rage quit, and then you know him and his 17%er buddies could have a laugh, you know, so to say, at your expense.
Oh, dude, my girl brought up a good fucking point, right? So I'm talking to my girl. First off, there was this. Let me give backstory real quick. I think that's where a lot of my issues come from, is I give no backstory. So when Child's Play Ninja had said that about me, where it's like, why do you bring this up at the most convenient times? Well, I didn't think of it, and if I fucking thought of anything of it, then I wouldn't have had to reflect on it, man. Like I talked to so many fucking people, but there's a thing in our brain called recall, where something is brought up and then we associate it and we're like, oh shit, I remember that. So anyway, one of the things I'm trying to mention is this girl Tracy. People see her all the time, especially in CPN's chats.
Yeah, she's on Chuck shit a lot too.
Well, here's my thing, bro. She's like, Sid Jones needs to get off the phone. Bitch, you called me in the middle of the night. And you were like, hey, give me a ring, or when's a good time to call you? I had some questions to ask you, but you kept me up for 2 hours telling me about the bands you drank with and hung out with. I barely got a word in edgewise. The fuck are you talking about? Get me off the phone. You kept me up on for fucking 2 hours with my girl fucking falling asleep on the couch. Man.
Because people are two-faced, man, and that's proof. They want to act like your friend when it's convenient, and then behind your back they want to go and talk all that shit.
Well, I think people would piss the fact that Child's Play Ninja and I went OT last night, you know? And I'm like, look, listen, this has been a discussion that you guys have wanted us to have. I'm sure of it. You guys were hitting up Child's Play Ninja. You need to respond to Sid Jones again. He made fun of the march. First it was the gathering, and now it's the march, and my feelings are hurt. You need to talk to Sid Jones. You know that was a buildup, bro.
Oh yeah.
And I knew it too. As soon as he said it, man, he was like, I remember this. So last night I sent him my phone number. I did do that because I'm like, as soon as he sees my number pop up on his fucking inbox, it don't matter if there was 15 people before me. When he sees fucking Sid Jones pop up on his fucking feed. He's going to be like, that motherfucker, I'm calling him. I fucking knew it. So he's like, no. This is the number I'm going to call. I'm like, here we go. So I'm outside smoking a cigarette. And that's when I knew, man, I'm just waiting for the phone call at that point. I'm still watching the stream, but I knew he was going to fucking call me. And the thing is, there was people that wanted to skip ahead to that conversation last night. Whether you love me or hate me, I exist, and my opinion is always out there. And the thing is, you have to run to your fucking messiahs. You have to run to your fucking leaders to get that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the formatting. They don't have the fortitude, the testicular fortitude, the grapefruits, the gall to be like, hey, look, listen, I'm going to address Sid Jones, and I'm going to issue him a challenge to come onto my channel. And if you did do that, you didn't send the invite to me, and I've posted my Facebook and my Twitter on every single one of my descriptions. So you were out of excuses at that point. People can't themselves. You know, they have to.
Oh, definitely.
They have to call upon a higher power. They have to call upon somebody who's got a shit ton of followers to be like, put this bitch in his place. But when I don't rage quit, and when I'm fucking standing there having that conversation with people, even with people issuing me death threats from people that don't think that they're a gang, and then his whole thing is that's social media. And then when I brought up the whole thing, I pissed off the Broadside fans, a pop punk thing. I didn't get death threats. Not from those fuckers. Granted, they're pop punk fans, so they're probably just gonna, like, you know, wear their skirts and cry to mommy and daddy. Sorry if the transgenders got offended by that. But I mean, I don't know how else to put it, man. Like, there's a lot of people out there. Like, there's this one guy said raunchy things to my girlfriend, but that was perfectly okay in the eyes of everybody because he was a juggalo. That doesn't sound like a mob mentality to you, which is what I asked. And that question got dodged too. So I really hope people watch this and they're like, man, Sid Jones is an asshole. He's a hypocrite. He's a liar. And then I'm going to ask how, and then you're going to link me to a video that I did 3 months ago. And you'd be like, but you said this. And I'm like, also times have changed. Also people have changed and my perspective has changed. And you guys might have had an impact on that. Jesus fucked me dead.
Yeah, it's a you know, it's a sad tale of events. You know, that's why, you know, it's like, you know, I tell people, you know, okay, like I'll watch people like CPN and Chuck Reeves, but throughout it all, I can always sit and think for myself. Like, I'm not ever gonna take whatever they say and just blindly believe it. No, not in the slightest.
Dude, I got it. Okay, let me say this for the record. I've gone back with CPN for years and years and years. Chuck is hysterical. I love listening to Chuck. I love listening to Child's Play Ninja. I love hearing the polar opposite opinions. If I didn't, I wouldn't watch it. I can't fucking stand half the shit that my girlfriend watches. I'm sorry, 90% of the shit my girlfriend watches. Matter of fact, she was picking up a magazine in the store today. I know I do a lot of grocery shopping. I buy like small amounts of groceries, you know, 2, 3 times, 4 times a week or whatever, because we have a tiny refrigerator now because it broke. But Child's Play Ninja would say, well, now it's interesting you're bringing that up because you didn't mention that before, because it wasn't relevant at that point. You know, why would I come and be like, so you got this new refrigerator, let me do a review on it real quick. What the fuck? So anyway, my whole thing is that I'm entertained by these people. I think that they're great. My girl's like, I think that Child's Play Ninja and Chuck Reeves are both assholes. I'm like, that's fine. I like them both assholes. Because I don't know if you've heard the shit that I said on my channel, but I'm sorry, when you're talking about, like, I don't feel bad for the people who are victims of a school shooting, that's not an asshole kind of statement to make. Jesus Christ. Like, I gotta give the devils their due, man. Child's Play Ninja, when we got off the phone last night, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it on your fucking channel, bro. When we got off, he was like, after being all worked up, you thought he was gonna fucking have a canary and fucking die of a fucking heart attack or whatever. When him and I talked, he was like, man, whew, that was intense. I'm like, yeah, man, for fucking sure. Like, I'm still fucking sweating bullets over here. And he's like, all right, man, here's the truth of it. I'm fucking hungry. I've got fucking barbecued whatever waiting for me. I'm starving. I'm gonna go chow down. I'm like, yeah, man, you have a good night. Like, it was civil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Payment, but it's like we don't let our personal bullshit and shit like that get in the way of like a mutual respect of like, look, I fucking hate your opinion. I completely fucking disagree with you. But at the end of the day, goes right back to what you and me talked about in episode 1, man. A little bit of compassion goes a long way. And that was proof of it, man. When you're in the fucking head-to-head of it all and you've got polar opposite opinions and things like that, and the two people can come out shaking hands afterwards, that shows how fucking adult they are. So don't ever assume, and I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to our viewers here, whoever might be watching this, whoever might be watching this later on, do not think that Child's Play Ninja is a child. Don't think of him as ignorant, and don't think that way of Chuck either. Those are both very intelligent men who have earned their up and comings. They have busted their ass doing everything they possibly could. I have never, can't say never, Chuck Reeves and I had our misunderstanding, and I made a public apology about that. But where I stand is Chuck Reeves and Cosplay Ninja have earned everything they've got. They've earned it. They've worked hard for it. They've busted their ass. They've both got polar opposite opinions, and Child's Play Ninja was right. Chuck Reeves was the person that we needed for YouTube, and he's absolutely right on that. You know, we needed Chuck. I'm glad Chuck is doing what he's doing. Whatever it is he does, working with M&E, not working with M&E, what he does on YouTube alone, man, solidifies how I feel about Chuck. You know, what I feel about Child's Play Ninja, man, I mean, I've fucking seen this guy, you know, bust his ass, do his shit on YouTube, make some of the most entertaining things that I've ever seen in my life on YouTube. Like, they are the greatest personalities as far as the Juggalo community is concerned. I have to give it to them both. They both have their own style of doing something. They both have their own way of handling shit. And I appreciate that art in the both of them. And I feel like that those two creating the platform that they have is fucking amazing. And that is something that I tune into. Like I said, I was watching it when people are like, why are you watching this? Well, one, I'm an individual. I have the right to make choices. And second, I've never had issues with Child's Play Ninja. In spite of what you've seen between Child's Play Ninja and I, in spite of the shit that is said, at the end of the day, we walk away shaking hands. Like, we do not hate each other by any means. We'll get each other pissed off and worked up. That's what we do. You know, we try, like, the way I see it is me, Chuck, and Child's Play try and bring out the worst in people instead of the good. We're trying to, because Child's Play Ninja did this video years back. It said, take your mask off. Like the whole, like, you know, demeanor thing of like what you are, just take that off for a day. And I'm like, what if we brought that out in people? Because I've been thinking about that video, man, since I saw it. Every day I think about that video. I have a callback to that video. And I'm like, damn, like, imagine that kind of a world. And I'm like, what if we brought that out in people? You know, is it a conscious thing? It could be. But the fact is, we do it each and every day. And the thing is, that gets people to think. We want that to happen. I know it. Chuck wants you to have a different opinion based off of not just what he says, but off of what Child's Play Ninja says. When Big Irish came out and said, those two are in cahoots, I don't believe it. What I do believe, though, is that they're out for the same cause. They want you to think for yourself. They want you to be individuals. And at the same time, they want to cater to not only your individuality, but the things that you like. And they want you to hear their opposing views on it, because those two rarely agree on anything. And when they did, people were pissed. People were pissed that the two walked away shaking hands. They were like, man, you should have schooled that guy. You should have said this. How do I know? I was one of those people, brother. People want confrontation. People want drama. And as I had said, that's where we as a society, as a people, as a species, has stooped to a new low. We don't need reality housewives. We don't need all this fucking, like, you know, total divas. We don't need that shit anymore, man. It's all on YouTube, brother. And it's not even just women doing it, which they are fucking notorious for. It's men too. And to me, what I think is that people need to evaluate themselves, assess themselves, and do a constant, like, checking in with themselves of like, am I right on this? But the problem is, we're too far gone now. We're the way I see it, man, the best thing that could happen to us is a fucking meteor. And it's probably a heartless thing for me to say, but we might as well just ride it out until that fucking meteor strikes, till that volcano erupts, till that earthquake hits, till the hurricanes keep fucking coming, till there's no more Florida or fucking Texas. We should just ride it out. And at this point, what was that one movie where, was it Little Nicky? Yeah, it was Little Nicky, where they're like, yeah, just fucking indulge, man, because you're all going to die anyway. And then they're like, there most definitely is a hell. And then they were all shocked. But building up to that, it was just people fucking mayhem and shit. Because the greatest lie the devil ever told was that he didn't exist. And that to me is a great line. And I think that when people start to think that way, the whole nihilistic perspective, that's what happens. And I think that's what the media wants. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to get murdered. You're going to get poisoned by this food. This peanut butter has been recalled. But here's Colgate in the meantime so that we can get fucked. Here's some acne cream so that way the girl's going to want to suck your nuts. Like, it's all that shit, man. It's all that shit, man. Like, does that not add up? Like, there's another perspective for you. Is that the case? Like, that's what I love about Lars, man. That's what I love about Bizarre and King Gordy and all that shit. They talk about the shit that's uncomfortable to talk about. While Slim Shady might have done it first, or whoever might have done it first, King Gordy and Bizarre as a duo will always have done it better.
I like the song they put out. You know, people, you know, are entitled to their opinion. I mean, you know, people can, you know, people can come at me funky or whatever, however they want, because yeah, I listen to a lot of what, you know, what's coming out on MNE, but I listen to it because in my eyes, it's the superior music right now. Because I mean, like I said last time, I said this to a friend. I can't get behind Light. I tried. I can't get behind him. I really can't get into a lot of what Hoodoo has done. I liked his first CD. Otherwise, I'm really not that impressed. What ICP's made recently, haven't really liked any of that. And yeah, okay, to give CPN a point, just because like you think it sucks doesn't mean it sucks. It's subjective. He's right there.
Right.
And then, like, okay, I guess to give Sai a win, I liked Shaggy's solo CD. I thought that shit was fucking bomb. Like,
and I didn't like it, man. But that's the thing. It's like I put in a CD, right? And it's just me. Who the fuck cares? If I'm trying to introduce somebody to that music, you know what I mean? It's the same way you're trying to introduce somebody to Quentin Tarantino. You're going to introduce them to your favorite fucking film. That's all. Like, it's that natural bias. You know what I mean? If we can at least acknowledge that, and again, when you can admit it, that's half the battle. And that's when you, like, when you admit that you've got a problem, that's the start, you know? So if we can admit, like, look, man, I'm going to be completely honest, this is my favorite Tarantino film, and I want you to watch it. And if it's Hateful Eight, they might be a little confused, but if you showed them, like, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and then Hateful Eight, and you show them, like, the years of releases and whatnot, and give them a little bit of backstory and information, they might have a little bit more appreciation for that film. While Hateful Eight's not necessarily a sequel, it's still a damn good film. And when you can, like, just sit there and fucking give them all this analysis and your perspective on it, man. Like, if you could sit down and be like, well, look, listen, I'm looking at this statue. It's got a lean to it. No, it's not. It's upright. You know, and I learned that. That blew my mind when I was standing there. I'm like, no, that statue's doesn't have like a lean or a tilt to it. My buddy's like, yes, it does. I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at? I walked over to his side of the Iwo Jima Memorial and I went, oh shit, yeah, no, I definitely see that. And he's like, well, what are you seeing? And he went over that way and we're like, so is it leaning back or is it not? And we discussed it on the bus. Did we debate about it? No. You want to know why we didn't debate about it? Because we saw it from the other person's perspective. I was 13 years old, 14 years old when I went on that trip. And when I went on that trip, man, and I saw that analogy stuck with me forever. Because it's like the perfect analogy when you can see it and be willing just to take a fucking few steps just to see that person's perspective on it. That's what's important. And that's a huge fucking applaud to a society that would be willing to do something like that. To a group of people, to an individual that would be willing to do something like that, but we don't do it anymore. I gave it a chance, man. I went in listening to Missing Link, Lost and Found as if it was going to be the Wraith album. Like, I spent days just being like, dude, this album might be fucking dope. Like, I could have been fucking wrong this whole time. And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, no, it's still fucking garbage. And then I went and listened to Light, and I'm like, no, it's still fucking garbage. And then I listened to 6 Foot, 7 Foot, and I'm like, maybe if I listen to it a third or fourth time, I might like it. You know, some songs grow on you. Like Serpentine from Disturbed, I fucking hated that song. And then like a month later, I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. Not bad. You know, so there's like a different degree of like, yeah, man, I didn't like this song 5 years ago. Looking back on it, pretty fucking dope. But there's been nothing coming out of Psy that made me feel that way. I remember when I gave Big Hoodoo a chance. Like I was actually excited they were announcing a new rap artist. I'm like, fuck yeah. And I listened to it and I went, fuck, this is shit. Like when Cold 187 came out, I was like, this dude's not gonna last. There's no fucking way. I saw him live opening up for Lotus, actually. I was like, fuck this guy. But when it comes to Bizarre and King Gordy, there's a difference, a slight difference, and I'll explain why. Let's say you and me started a rap duo. I'm not even saying rap duo. Let's say you and me for the past 10 years, I featured you in some of my music videos and some of my albums and some of my singles, and you've done the same for me, right? And people are like, dude, this song is the shit. I love this song. I love this track, whatever. And it's like all of our features and shit. And then we're finally like, hey, we're a duo. Wouldn't you be like, well, fucking, yeah, that makes sense. You guys have been making music together for fucking 10 years. It would be that same thing, wouldn't it? Like, that's what I would expect from people. When it came to Lars, they're like, what if the mixtape sucks? I'm like, have they put out a bad song together ever? No. Okay, what makes you fucking think the mixtape is going to be any fucking different? As a matter of fact, it might actually be a little more 50-50 because when you listen to like a feature from King Gordy, it's a verse and it's Bizarre carrying it 90%. And on the flip side, it's King Gordy carrying it 90% and Bizarre the 10. That's because it's a feature. It's not like, you know, back and forth necessarily. That's, you know, ciphers and collaborations and whatever. There's an art to that is completely different. And when it comes down to me and how I see it is that Lars has been around forever and they finally just gave it a name. And it saved me from having to get 2 tattoos. Consider it economics, I guess.
My view with those two is this: I like them both, and I mean, and where CPN really needs to take his own advice is how he wanted to sit there and go, well, bizarre shit, and I think he's shit and all this. Well, okay, man, if you can sit and say music's subjective, then your fucking opinion ain't 100% right either, there, dude. You know, so okay, yeah, you can sit there and say he sucks a lot to some other person like me or you. You know, I like some of what Bizarre's done. Yeah, even that shit that he was spitting out about, yeah, him, you know, fucking getting his pit bull on the board. I like the old D12 shit. Honestly, I thought some of the old D12 shit was some of the best. I mean, honestly, D12 people like D12 and Eminem and, you know, shit like that. That's what got me into rap. That's what got me hard into rap and what's kept me like a rap fan. And for me, I think the shade Gordy and Bizarre catches. There's a lot of these little puss bags that listen to music these days that don't like their X-rated content they put out. Me myself, that's what I like about like Gordy and Bizarre, and say something like I'll say like Tech, or even like back when he was hot, like Immortal Technique.
Dude,
you know,
have you listened to the song Bill Cosby from Bizarre? Have you listened to that song?
I haven't, but I'm going to.
Do you know why you haven't? Because it was on the back burner of YouTube. Because that shit was like, yeah, no, it's too fucking offensive because it was released for YouTube. And here's my other point. Okay, I want to make this point before I have to get off of here because my phone's dying. When people are saying that MNE is money hungry and pushing their merch, bullshit. What it is they've realized that nobody is buying CDs anymore. People are buying maybe a couple of songs off of iTunes and shit like that. Do you know how artists make money now? It's through merchandise, bro. And you mean to tell me that but King Gordy and Bizarre have changed that aspect. Like instead he put it up on YouTube for people to listen to so that way he can get the monetization off of it. But now you can't do shit like that. Even if you are a big time artist, they don't monetize that shit. If you look at a lot of what King Gordy put out, there's no monetization on it. So of course, now their only way to make money is through merchandise. Of course they're gonna push it. That's what separates MNE from Psychopathic. Psychopathic tries to put out 5 CDs of the same fucking album with a different color to it or a different logo to it or whatever. But with MNE, they're like, no. Here's this album of 20 plus songs, and here's like a bunch of different kind of merchandise that can go with it. Not everybody wants band t-shirts. Fine, here's a pair of sunglasses. I've already got 5 pairs of sunglasses. Well, then here's a hoodie for the winter. Like they've got so much variety. That doesn't tell me, hey, look, listen, we're money hungry. It tells me we know you don't buy our music. We understand that. That's smart of them, brother. Like, I think that, because I said that years and years ago, I'm like, no one buys CDs. How do music artists make money? Oh, it must be off their fucking merchandise that they have the rights to. And that's what I think is brilliant with Twisted is that they've made it so that way. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but all that means you're gonna get music, and they're not gonna be as upset when you fucking steal their music because they just made, so much profit off of a damn hoodie or a damn t-shirt or a pair of sunglasses. Like that's how you keep that music there, bro. You can't just get free merchandise and free music and then say, oh, they're just money hungry. No, we're paying them for their entertainment.
Definitely, and and to back it up though, like, I mean, I guess what rings out to me and what you just said is, okay, people want to sit and say that, but it's just like, well, okay, it's up to people to buy that merchandise. Nobody's holding a gun to their head going, oh, okay, Billy, you best buy. You best buy the Twisted CD or something. Some bad shit's gonna happen. No, there ain't nobody holding no gun to nobody's head, forcing nobody to buy that merchandise. More than likely, if you're buying merchandise, it's because you want to support these people, especially in the underground. Honestly, that's the one thing that I love about underground music is, the underground self promotes itself. Like one dude I've been messing with a lot lately, and his label, I really wish they could catch some more people listening to them. Shout out to Playboy the Beast and Murder Music.
Beast. Dude, did you hear that? What was it? Murder the Innocents? Oh, what was the name of that song? It was Murder the Innocents, I think is what the name of the song was, or was the artist? And it featured Playboy the Beast and Mars and all those guys. One of my favorite lines is just like the way he delivers is, I left the tongue tasteless. Like, dude, I have that on my fucking thing. And the thing is, most of my music came free. But because I'm not putting like $30 into a disc, I'm able to buy their merchandise, bro, where they're able to make the real money at, because they're getting robbed of that anyway. So if I buy a CD, it's not going to rack up like it would with 70 people buying t-shirts, 3 people buying CDs. Like the math just doesn't equate.
I was just using him as an example, but he's running underground, and I have him. I have his public figure page and his personal Facebook on my Facebook. I think the dude's hilarious. I follow a lot of what he says. He's out there self promoting his artists and himself and all that. And one thing I like about the underground is, I mean, like, even like people can sit and give Chuck shit, but like, okay, myself, like, I bought one of his pendants. Why? Not because I'm a sheep, but because I support him. I support what he does. I think he makes good content. What I'll give to the underground is, especially to the underground, because most of the people, for the most part, that listen to underground music, I find they're less sheep than a lot of these people that listen to mainstream stuff. They're not. People don't go get a Gmo ski shirt or a Twisted shirt or a Lars shirt once they start making them, or a Blaze shirt or something like that, because they want to be cool. No, they get that shit. They get a chain, they get a hoodie, they get a shirt, they get a hat, because they want to support one of those artists, because they're down with their music and shit, because that's how, like, the underground stuff works. And they're not sheep like these, like some, Britney Spears or, like Backstreet Boys fans, where they're just sheep and they just go buy the merchandise because they want to look cool.
But here's the thing, man. Like, here's my plan, right? Am I gonna buy merchandise online before my concert? No. What I plan on doing is, dude, I got my tickets. I'll go get them. I've posted pictures of them. I've got tickets to the after party with Triple Threat, and I got tickets to the actual concert with Lars, which I personally requested. When I heard about this show, I was like, I like Whitney Payton. It's on my bucket list to see her live. I reviewed Prozac's We All Fall Down. I just want a chance to walk up to Prozac and be like, yo, bro, I reviewed that album on Juggalo News. He shared that review. Is he going to remember it? Probably not. I'll be like, I just want to say, man, from the bottom of my heart, this is one of my best albums that I heard that year. It sticks with me to this day. I still have it. Because when I was reviewing for Juggalo News, I got free music, bro. like Helter Skelter from Buckshot, I got that for free because I was reviewing it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get paid, but I got free music, which means I'm on money for merchandise, which is where they get most of their money anyways. So am I going to spend $25 on a Lars t-shirt online plus shipping? Or am I going to wait, what is it now, 3 weeks, something like that, which I'm fucking excited for, to go and get all the fucking shit that I want, man. Like I've already got the hotel booked. That's taken care of and out of the way. I'm staying at the Motor City Casino in Detroit. That's like the nicest place I've ever stayed at. I'm going to see a huge fucking lineup for $20 and an extra 15 got me to the after party. You know, I spent more in the hotel room than I did on this show. Tell me why people wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to go to that show and just go buy the merchandise, because with that, it would cost you the same as much as it would for the product and shipping. Like, fucking go in there and support these guys. Like, oh, I support Lars. Then fucking go support them. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Buy their merchandise. Buy their new mixtape. Like, I can't wait, dude. I've already got like a list. I got a grocery list of shit that I'm buying at that show. So I feel bad that I'm buying it ahead of time, but it's like I get a chance to see it in person at no extra cost from what I've already paid my privilege to be there. And to be like, hey, look, listen, I get to look at this merchandise in front of me and I get to go, I want one of those, two of those. Oh, get me one of those. I'm going to do this one as a fucking giveaway because I got the fucking money to, and it supports Lars. Like, I wanted Lars to be there. When I found out, when I saw that thing for Gordy and Bizarre being the last American rock stars, I was like, the first thing I commented is, please tell me they're going to be there at the October 30th show. And I waited months, like, just like, please answer this prayer. Answer this prayer. And when they announced it, dude, I tagged my girl in it, which she was pissed, by the way. She fucking hates King Gordy. He is fucking vile and disgusting, which makes it even more better because I'm going to be like a little child. Fuck yes, fuck yes. And there's my girlfriend going, yeah, I don't want to be here. I'd rather die in hell at this point. Like, fuck being here. Why am I around these people? Why am I here? Oh, right, because he's a fucking 5-year-old with, like, you know, who's extremely immature. That's why. Got it. But that's the thing, though, man. Like, I was excited. I got those tickets before they were there. When I made a request, did they do it because I had asked? No, it was probably in the works months before it. Because that show, people don't know this, but people need to understand that that show for Fright Fest was announced before they announced their Most Tasteless tour. Those tickets were on sale on TicketWeb for a long fucking time. Before anybody knew what it was, they were just like, hey, Twisted is going to be playing in Detroit 5 months from now. I haven't seen Twisted in a while. Oh, Whitney Payton's going. Okay. So I purchased the tickets. Or that same, like, 2 weeks it was announced or whatever. Probably the same week that they went on sale. But did I wait until midnight for the tickets to go on sale? No. No, I didn't. But had they announced that King Gordy and Bizarre were going to be there, best believe I'd have been sitting at my laptop fucking 36 hours straight doing this, waiting for those tickets to go on sale. Because it's been a dream of mine to see King Gordy live, and for them to be like, oh, and Bizarre too. I'm like, yes, fucking please. What's King Gordy without Bizarre and Bizarre without King Gordy? They're like the perfect match for each other. Their music, their delivery, their humor. It's perfect. Like, I even got to say this. Gordy's my favorite of the two, but when I listen to Savage Life, Bizarre killed it. I'm like, holy shit, Bizarre. Like, that was like the best shit I had heard from you in a long ass time. That surpassed Bill Cosby. And the fact that it was like 50-50, and the rumor that I heard that was only half the track. I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Like, I wish people could get that as excited and be like, look, listen, I work my ass off. I'm gonna go party hard. I'm gonna spend my money on all this shit because I get to see it in person, and it supports them. And they get money off of the fucking ticket sales, I'm sure, because I didn't see any opening acts or whatever, that they had already booked this ahead of time. MNE is not suffering. As much as the fan base might have dwindled because of the split or whatever, the fact is it went back to what it used to be. You're going to see maybe 50 to 100 people, hopefully more than that. But if that's the case, that makes it more personal. And then when they blow up and become big, I get to be like, I was one of the 50, 100 people that was at that Fright Fest in 2017 when everyone else were naysayers. One day Twisted's gonna drop something with Lars, and when that album comes out, bro, that fucking Magic Ninja Entertainment fucking full-length album comes out, people are gonna be changing their minds, bro. It's gonna blow everybody away. And for that, I cannot wait. Because then it'll be about the music again.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, like to finish my thought, like I just think, I just think Bizarre and King Gordy is it's a lot for a lot of these fragile people to handle. I like them because I'm into that crude, fucked up shit. I mean, that's that. And I mean, honestly, like I really wish those guys would hook up with Gmo and do a song. Like I think they'd kill something too. I mean, I get a lot of shit because right now, I used to say for the longest time, like people used to ask me, okay, who's your favorite who's your favorite person on Psychopathic? Because back then it was Psychopathic basically just running the underground. And I always used to say Boondocks, because Boondocks is what got me into it. The song that really got me really, really down for him was Death of a Hater with him and Madrox. I still to this day love that song. But honestly, Boondocks' new stuff, it doesn't appeal to me like, okay, if you like some country stuff, cool, whatever. I'm really not down with this country stuff. I like the more like gangster rap type stuff he was doing, like Death of a Hater, or this the fucked up shit like Freak Bitch. I like that fucked up, messed up shit he was doing. So I kind of fell away from Boondocks. Now if people ask me, yo, who you down with the underground for really right now? I say Gmoski and Blaze.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what it is. Like I told my buddy last night, I don't know what it is, but people want to say, oh, you get this carnival feeling or whatever. Back in the day for ISDP, my carnival feeling, and as many people as they want to disagree, because he didn't go to the march or something, is with Gmoski. I don't know what it is, but I listen to Filthy Spirit Bomb, and especially my Filthy Spirit Bomb, the actual song itself. Man, something about that song, I just instantly start dancing and feeling that fucking Wicked Clown Love magic. I love that shit. And I'm so excited for his new CD.
And Seaman, like, that's dope. Like, and that's what I feel like M&E has brought to the table is more variety. You see what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing. I'm be completely honest. I don't know Gmo as a person. I think his music is okay, but I mean, I was just a fan of, like, with me, what got me into it was Gorilla Voltage.
Hell yeah.
Ours came out, I was like, sorry guys, you guys just got knocked down a peg or two. Like, I hate to be that guy, but I'm sorry, like but that doesn't take away from Gorilla Voltage at all. They've got talent. So when I heard Gorilla Voltage, because I went in there with no opinion whatsoever, and then I heard their self-titled song, Gorilla Voltage, I'm like, this shit's nuts.
Hell yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's good shit right there. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude, I'd listen to that song 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. And that's what I'm saying though. M&E, their trick wasn't just their merchandise, brother. It was their variety. Like, we've got Gorilla Voltage, Gmoski, and fucking Lars. Like, how much more variety do you need for people to realize, oh, that they're small-minded and they're stupid and they're just catering to the lowest common denominator? Does Psychopathic have that kind of variety? They did, and because the Juggalos are so narrow-minded, they got all those bands like Zug Island and everybody else off that label. Like, that's the thing. And Violent J, instead of like pushing these artists as best as he can, like he did with Twisted, I feel like he got exhausted of that and stopped doing it. Because now when fans like, we're not welcoming to this, Jay's like, you gotta go. The fans don't like it. Sorry, dude. Like, I realize that I'm supposed to be the guy who does all the PR. Like, I remember when Axe Murder Boys came out on the Mighty Death Pop, and fucking Jump Steady had to come out and like try and like clear the way for like, look, listen, I'm Jump Steady and I bless these guys and this, that, and the other, and these guys are my boys and whatever. And he goes, like, he's just trying to like ease it for the guys. Did it work? No, it did not work. But that's what they did when people weren't being receptive. Now they don't do that anymore. Now they're like, okay, you're going to do this, and we're going to transform you to the image that the Juggalos like. We know what they like, so we're going to change that for you a little bit, which also takes away from their creativity and their individuality, because juggalos don't know how to be either. Damn, that was good. I'm proud of that. That was good.
See, I take it from the view of, like, see, that's where I feel Jay fucked up. Like, see, myself, I liked Axe Murder Boys. And I feel like one of his biggest blunders is not taking them and promoting them more. And then not, like, actually paying more attention to, like, Blaze and Boondocks. Like, people got to realize Blaze and Boondocks left because they were barely getting any attention. And I really do feel like they were basically having to promote a lot of their stuff themselves. Well, no, that was supposed to be Violent J's organization's job, and they were, you know, fucking the pooch on that. Well, now, I mean, because even Child's Play Ninja agrees on this part that, okay, Abominations by Twisted was a fucking epic album. I think so myself. I still bump songs from that shit today. Jay fucked up so bad on making a shitty fucking cover for the CD, not pushing that shit out more, not getting more, as Chuck would say, heads down to get down with it and listen to it. I think they were able to push that CD more once they made MNE themselves than Jay ever did.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is that was one of the fucking masters I was glad they got back. And people, like, I feel like people don't know what masters they got. I'm like, if you want to know what masters they got, just go look at the new Psychopathic record store because they're still selling Twisted merch. And what I also want you to do is go and look at the CDs and the vinyls and the special editions and whatever that M&E's putting out. And that tells you what masters they got and didn't get. Like, that'll, because they're still, like, that's what I think is really fucked up, is that they're still selling Twisted merch over on Psy. I'm like, I get it. You don't want them to have their masters. Fine, whatever. That's common in the music world. Wonderful. However, what I think you need to realize is that you're still selling their fucking merch. And if you're a real Twisted fan, why would you buy it off of Psy in the first fucking place? What I'm waiting for is for Psy to go under. They lose all their fucking rights and royalties and their fucking whatever. And somebody grabs one of those fucking masters from ICP, one of these record labels, to put out their fucking albums and shit like that, because they managed to put out their 6 Joker cards in a box set, even though they all released on different things. They pulled some sort of fucking strings, and it was okay for them to do that. Yeah, that's another good point. Dude, alcohol, I endorse. It helps me think.
Whatever you need to do it, man.
Oh, fuck yeah. But like I said, man, oh, shit, we got a storm coming in, and my phone's still dying, even though it's on the charge, so I probably should peace the fuck out.
Okay.
Let's see. How's Tuesday work for you for part 3?
I should work for me. If not, you know, I'll text you if it doesn't work out. It should just shoot me a time that you say definitely works for you, and definitely I definitely say, you know, I like this back and forth we got. You know, me and you can agree to disagree. We've handled it like adults, thus forward and through. I mean, whenever you want to hop on and do this, I'm down.
4:00 Tuesday, then, brother.
Sounds good.
All right, man. You have a good night. And as always, I am Sid Jones, and fuck what you think.
Okay, guys, that was Sid Jones. This is the Blunt Atheist signing off. If you like either of our content, like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This has been your boy Sean. Peace.